I just dug these GNOL .7 bands out of my stash. They've been sitting there for about 2 years. Today, we're going to explore some do's and don'ts to get better band life, so don't you go away. Whew, I gotta tell you, these GNO bands are freaking awesome. Anyway, band life. Let's get into it. Sorry guys, I guess we'll start off with physical damage. That's probably the easiest and the most common thing to happen. Basically, when you're putting your bands or your frame down on the ground, or if you keep it exposed while you're traveling through heavy brush, you know, you can get caught up and hung up on it, and your bands get kind of chewed up a little bit. Just stick it in your pocket with other items like you know, your keys or a pen or some change or your pocket knife, even ammo. A bunch of these things can all cause issues. But I think the most thing that I've ever had issues with is actually getting it caught slightly in zippers. Just having the zipper pinch it a little bit from either in my jacket pocket or in those little cases that you can get sometimes with little zipper closures. I've actually damaged quite a few bands that way, and it's caused issues. Another thing too is physical damage. Here's a perfect example of it. I had a frame hit doing something stupid, and when I'm shooting, the bands could crash into that and actually cause micro damage or bruising to the rubber, and it'll end up eventually destroying my band. So that should actually be fixed, especially considering it's on the top fork, and if that ever snaps close to the fork end, it's going to hit me right in the face. You're going to want to store all your bands away from electrical devices, ozone, dirt, oil, or sunlight. Now, even if you're on a frame, you're going to want to put this guy into a plastic bag or inside some kind of pouch to block it from the sunlight and protect it. When storing your bulk bands, you want them to be inside of the plastic bags, inside of a cool, dark place. Next up is dry firing. Okay, yep, I just did it. Dry firing your bands, really not good for them. Instead of the bands transferring the energy from the elastic to the projectile at your target, it's actually just crumpling everything in, and it's crashing into your forks needlessly, and it's really not good. The flight pattern really doesn't seem to be the same with your bands. The retraction anyway doesn't seem to be the same. I wish I could slow it down enough to actually show it to you, but it just doesn't seem to be good at all. All things considered, is it really the end of the world for doing that? I mean, it's not going to cost you much money. It's not like doing it with a bow where it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars to fix your limbs. But in the end, we want to preserve our bands as long as possible, so we get the most out of them. And when you get a good set and you're used to a set and you're shooting well, why mess that up? So the next one we're going to talk about is maxing out your bands or overpowering your bands. Now, maxing out your bands, when you do a full draw and you get to your anchor and you can't pull it anymore, well, there may be that little bit of extra before you release the pouch or whatever it is, and then you get from switching from the elasticity of the elastic to actually putting tears in it. And yes, the tears are super small, you can't see them with your eye, but over time they will damage and break your bands prematurely. On the flip side, when shooting bands that are overpowered, like you'll see here, I'll make a shot with 3/8 steel from 15 meters, and then again I'll make another shot with 11 mil steel from 15 meters. There you go. Got it in two. Both of these shots are actually shooting pretty flat from this distance with these bands. Now, if I was to put 8 mil steel on there, you would hear the same sound as shooting my frame with nothing in it, with nothing on my pouch, doing a dry fire. So you actually hear a difference in the shot between a snap and like a throw. It's kind of hard to explain to you guys, I know, but if you, let's say for example, you shoot 8 mil steel and then you go ahead and you throw a clay in there and you shoot the clay, your bands sound different. They get like a more of a high-pitched snap. If that happens, you're starting to wear out your bands. It's like dry firing them. They keep crashing into the forks. The energy is not being transferred the way it should be. And one of the key signs that you'll notice that is if you're shooting OTT and you're letting that go and you start getting hand slap, well, that means you should be putting in a heavier projectile into your pouch, and you'll probably get better band life. So that's all I got for you there. Oh, nope. There's one more thing I got to tell you about. One of the mistakes I made in the beginning when I was starting out making my bands, I was actually putting my bands inside of my my band tying jig, and I was actually pulling them super tight, like really stretching them out, and it was actually causing an issue with my bands failing at that point. So instead of stretching them out so far, I kind of do it by half, thinking that okay, I'm taking 1 centimeter and I'm going to stretch it out. So stretching 1 centimeter by you know, if it's like a ×5 or ×6 or whatever it is, I don't want to stretch it out too far. I give it like I stretch it out about a ½ inch, and then I just tie them up good and tight, and I haven't had any slippages or anything like that, and my bands stopped failing as much at the pouch end, or as fast at the pouch end as they did before. So something to think about. Don't stretch it too far on your band tying jig. Just stretch it enough to be able to get your fingers in there, tie a good knot, make it all good and tight, and you should be good, and it will increase your band life. So in the end, to avoid maxing out your bands, I always tend to add a ½ centimeter or maybe a centimeter to the bands, depending on what the elongation is, to add or aid in the longevity of the bands. So basically, if this is maxed out, I want to be able to pull back to about here or here, and that little extra bit that you're getting there isn't going to slow down your band speed all that much, and it will definitely make your bands last a lot longer, and in my opinion, it's worth it. So when I'm not testing bands, that's what I do. Ooh, look at that, 20 meters on my first shot too. I can't believe I just did that. We're gonna have to get a couple more shots on there to see if I can do that again, but that was pretty sick. On the Titan Hunter, I could do that pretty well, but on the Evo, I don't shoot very often, so let me tell you, that was a pretty impressive shot with a 3/8 steel. Anyway, the last one I want to talk to you guys about is actually your cutting tools. Your cutting tools are key to keeping your bands nice. Now, we're gonna have to go back inside and talk about this one just to get the right idea, but when you're cutting your elastic, you want to be able to make one slice. It makes it nice and square, clean cut. You don't want to go back and forth. You don't want to do any of that. You want to do one slice, back and forth, that's it. If you find yourself having to put too much pressure on your roller, or if you find yourself actually when you're finished cutting and you're looking at them and you got these little spots that are stuck in there, well, there's a good chance that on your knife you got either a rollover or a flat spot from dinging against other metal things or whatever it is. But that is a major thing that can cause issues with your bands. Now, basically what that comes down to is if you have any nicks, chips, scuffs, or scratches along that edge of those band sets, you're gonna have a failure there. And in the end, it's just gonna cause you to have more breakages, less shots, and having more money dumped out of your pocket. So basically, what I'm trying to say to you is that really take care, have a look at your roller. If you find you're pushing too hard or anything like that, there's a couple things you could do. You could either just scrap that blade and change it, or you could put it back up onto a strop, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, and that'll give you some more life out of it. But you're not going to be able to do that over and over and over again. It's going to come to a point where you just can't cut with the blade anymore, and you're going to have bands fail on you. Sorry guys, if you guys are knife nuts like I am and you have a strop and some compound at home, you could bring one of these rotary blades right back to life just by giving it a little drag and a little slight rotation on your way down. Basically, I just do like 1 or 2 passes all the way around. I just pick a spot on my rotary tool and I do the complete circle, flip it over, do the exact same thing on the other side, and try to get it done. But you will, after a few passes, get this thing right back to sharp again, and it'll cut nice. You're not going to be able to do this too many times, as the edge will start to round over, but it'll actually save you some money. So in a pinch, you could do this to save it. A leather belt will work just the same. All right, guys, hopefully this video will help somebody out that's trying to troubleshoot why their bands are breaking so quick. These are a few things that I have found. There are a few other things out there. There's one thing I wanted to mention actually about getting them wet. I've done quite a bit of shooting out in the rain before. I haven't noticed anything bad about water getting on the bands. But I would avoid anything like like spilling a beer or juice or Pepsi, anything that crystallizes after it dries. Even salt water might be an issue. It's gonna dry, and then they have like little pieces of salt that'll get into the pores, just like kind of dirt or dust would. But besides that, I mean, I think for the most part you can pretty much go out and do your thing. Just don't catch them in zippers and dry fire them and that kind of thing. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me and I'll try to answer them as best I can. And if not, I'll point you in a direction of somebody who can. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you found this video useful. It's time for me to run, but you guys take care, get out and practice. Be good to each other. I'll see you again soon. Love you guys, are freaking awesome. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button for me and subscribe if you haven't already. I quite often get questions about band longevity and how they can increase their shots and all that stuff, and this is what motivated me to put this video together. Now, it's going to come down to personal preference if you want more performance or if you want more longevity, but you're not going to get the peak of both. So really, when you're making your bands, you're going to have to figure out which speeds you're going to enjoy, and if you're getting an acceptable amount of shots out of your bands. Well, hopefully some of you will find this video useful. That said, I've attached a couple of playlists here for you guys to check out. Hopefully there's something in here that you'll find useful and enjoy. So, that's it for me, guys. You guys take care. Stay safe. Get out and practice. See you again soon. Take care. Ciao.